Hi everyone, and welcome to my video on how to get into Princeton. Before I get started, if you could please like and subscribe. This is my first ever YouTube video, and so it would mean the absolute world if I could start growing a channel. And so without further ado, here we go. I just wanted to go ahead and get started and really briefly just go over the way this video is going to be formatted. So I'm going to divide it into 3 sections. The first one's going to be classes and GPA, and then test scores, and then I'll wrap up with my extracurriculars and awards. And I will include timestamps in the description below if you wanted to skip to a particular section. So first off, I just wanted to really quickly explain my school's weighting system so that my weighted GPA made sense within context. And so at my school, if you get an A in a regular class, it's a 4.0. If you get an A in an honors, it's a 4.5, and if you get an A in an AP or dual enrollment, it's a 5.0. So my unweighted GPA was a 4.0, and my weighted GPA was a 4.6, but I do want to point out that you definitely don't need straight A's to get into, these Ivy League schools. If you look at this thing called the Common Data Set, it's super easy to find. You just Google Common Data Set and then the name of the institution you're interested in, and it should be the first link that pops up. It has all sorts of handy statistics. So right now we're looking at Princeton's Common Data Set, and if you look at it here, it says that the average high school GPA was a 3.92, which isn't perfect. So you definitely don't need to have straight A's in order to get into these types of schools. I would, however, caution against reading too much into these 4.89 or really any score below a 3.74, since this is probably due to athletes or the children of legacy donors or other people with major hooks who maybe it's a little easier for them to get in than the average applicant. So the next thing that I'm going to look at are my AP scores. And so I took 6 my junior year, which were these 6, and then I took 3 in my sophomore year, which were these 3, and I'm not going to report my scores because I didn't, report it to the colleges, and so I don't think that would be very applicable for this video since it's about how I got in. I did, however, report that I got 1 award, which was my AP Scholar with Distinction Award, and that award was based off of the scores that you got on the AP test. So that was sort of my way of telling admissions officers that while I didn't report my scores, I did still do good on these tests. And then the senior year courses I took that are using my school's weighting scale that are weighted as a 5.0 are these 7 right here. But I'm not going to go too much in depth in them because you can pause to take a look at them if you want. And then moving on to my test scores, so I actually did things a little bit in reverse. The first test I was supposed to take was actually the last one I took, and that was the PSAT. I took it January of my junior year, and I scored a 1440, which wasn't enough to qualify for a national merit here in Colorado, but it was enough for me to qualify for the National Hispanic Recognition Program, so that's good. That's an award I included. And then actually, a month before that, I had taken the SAT. I definitely think I was a little burnt out from studying for this SAT by the time the PSAT rolled around, and that's why I didn't do too hot. But for my SAT, I got a 1510, and that's the breakdown there. But I actually didn't submit either of these scores. The score that I did submit was my ACT score that I took February of my sophomore year, right before COVID hit, and that was a 35 composite, with that breakdown right there. For my extracurriculars, I'm going to breeze through these very quickly because you can, as always, pause and read more in depth if you want to. I will just make a really quick note that anywhere where it says Colorado, that I just put down as like a generic name just to sort of keep it anonymous and not put down the particular organization that I was working with. So it wasn't as if, I was working for the Colorado nonprofit. No, I was just working for a nonprofit in Colorado. But I will just go ahead and quickly scroll. And I just want to point out that yes, while I am, Hispanic, and that did give me a bit of a boost in the admissions process, I don't think that you need to have, some national recognition or have won, some major award or cured cancer or anything in order to get in. I just think that as long as you're able to create a compelling narrative then you will be fine. And I will go over some more tips in my next video, which should come out pretty soon. So these were all of my extracurriculars, and then down here were all of my honors, which I also think are pretty self-explanatory. So thank you guys so much for looking at my video, and as I said earlier, please make sure to like and subscribe so that way my channel can grow, especially since I will be putting out more college content in the near future. Thanks so much. Bye.